Go yard.
I got so much motherfucking design on right now.
Break it down, bring it back, make it clap. I got 3 old thoughts, new guap, wear that thing. Bitches on my line, and you know they come strapped. Hold up, what it not, 45, scope attached, like whoa. I ain't fucking with these hoes, I pull up the greatest and now selling all these shows. Doing this till I make it because he know it's how I go. Got me yelling the playlist because she fuck with me the most, like that. Break it down, bring it back, make it clap. I got 3 old thoughts, new guap, wear that thing. Bitches on my line, and you know they come strapped. Hold up, what it not, 45, scope attached, like whoa. I ain't fucking with these hoes, I pull up the greatest and now selling all these shows. Doing this till I make it because he know it's how I go. Got me yelling the playlist because she fuck with me the most, like that.
Buzz it out, buzz it out, buzz it. I just put a fangirl, flew her out for Russia. I spent 3K, what the fucking budget? Chrome hard G's, 10K, can't touch it. Shake the hips that don't lie like Shakira. I'm so damn high in the coupe, I'm keto. I don't drink tea, there's only drink expensive liquor. Fucking on your bitch in my green plastic slipper. You go, oh my god, you're underrated. She got itty bitty titties, I bust them on her quickly. I bought that bitch Versace garments just because of pity. If she is a Fashion Nova bitch, she cannot be with me. I pull her with the 5-5, pocket rocket pop pop, aim it at your top, while she give me top. My brother's on top, your brothers just fall off. I just make her jaw lock like she's just an M-Rock. Hey, yeah, I'm the greatest. Every single time I drop your bitch, I meet a playlist. And I know her boyfriend get mad when she play this. And he always complain when she say I'm her favorite.
Break it down, bring it back, make it clap. I got 3 old thoughts, new guap, wear that thing. Bitches on my line, and you know they come strapped. Hold up, what it not, 45, scope attached, like whoa. I ain't fucking with these hoes, I pull up the greatest and now selling all these shows. Doing this till I make it because he know it's how I go. Got me yelling the playlist because she fuck with me the most, like that. Break it down, bring it back, make it clap. I got 3 old thoughts, new guap, wear that thing. Bitches on my line, and you know they come strapped. Hold up, what it not, 45, scope attached, like whoa. I ain't fucking with these hoes, I pull up the greatest and now selling all these shows. Doing this till I make it because he know it's how I go. Got me yelling the playlist because she fuck with me the most.
क्या बात है? How is everyone doing? Are we audible, guys? Press 1 if we are audible. Let me check. Yes, we are. Perfect. Guys, there will be a slight delay today. There was an issue in the OBS, obviously. पहले तो issues को side में रखते हैं. I want to greet you all a very happy Dashera, right? To you and your families. Let's go. Do you see the cool designer ka hoodie? Let's go. We got people joining in. Should we begin? देखो ज़्यादा time waste नहीं करेंगे. We will start our event. And with designer एक परंपरा है हमारी, we don't waste time. Yes. So moving in. Welcome designers. First of all, I welcome every single one of you to this hyped up event that we have created for you, right? And happy Fontober also. सब लोगों को दशहरा तो विश कर दिया, तो happy Fontober ही बोल देंगे because it's gonna be a 1 month long font madness or design madness, whatever you want to call it, right? We have a lot of stuff planned for you all, and it's gonna be insane. Okay, hold up. All caps is too scary, right? So with every presentation that we make, we do it the build space way. Are there any build space guys in the chat who remember what build space is? Send me a hoodie. We'll probably drop some stuff for sure. That's for sure. All right, before we proceed, let me switch to cam. Yeah. So over here, ये है हमारे stickers. These are our lovely stickers. So all of these stickers were given to us by a lovely company called SOS. SOS India is basically helping us in this specific event. They are collaborating with us, and they have made a lot of amazing stickers which you can go and check out on their page. एक बार page भी दिखा देता हूँ. Give me 1 second. Alright, so this is the page that you all can have a look at. इन्होंने ये sticker pack design किया है guys हमारे लिए. It has Fontober, it has a very cool typography design related stuff for you all, right? Go and have a look, go check out, and ये कैसे मिलेंगे वो भी बताता हूँ, right? Perfect. So more than 15 speakers with influencers, right? Price pool of over 30,000 rupees. Over 340 designers have taken officially part in this competition, and these guys are the guys who are going to be there throughout the month, right? Everyone will be participating, and I know that there will be fallen soldiers also in the middle. That hota hai, there is Diwali obviously coming in, but we thought why not we go beyond our limits and plan something which has been never done, you know. And फॉन्ट्स को कोई इतना ज़्यादा सीरियसली लेता नहीं है. हमने सोचा इस बार फॉन्ट्स पे एकदम अच्छा सा एक इवेंट कर देते हैं, है ना, विच इज़ वाई वी डिसाइडेड टू डू फॉन्टोबर इन द फर्स्ट प्लेस. मी एंड माई टीम को बहुत बड़ा शाउट आउट. सब लोगों को कॉल, अच्छा प्रेस 1 किस किस को कॉल्स गए हैं टीम्स की तरफ से, कोल्ड कॉल्स के थ्रू पता चला है तुम लोगों को, या तुम लोगों ने एड्स के थ्रू किया है. सब लोग इंटरेक्ट तो कर ही रहे हैं. सो टीम का सबसे बड़ा प्ले है. So thank you so much, team designer, for actually pulling this off and getting you all over here, right? 4 weeks of design madness, right? And ज़्यादा कुछ टाइम वेस्ट नहीं करेंगे. Everyone, yes, pressing 1. सब लोगों को डिज़ाइनर की टीम से कॉल्स गए. क्या बात है, वेरी नाइस. So let's begin. Make sure you all are in our WhatsApp groups. That is the first rule. That सब लोगों को WhatsApp group में होना बहुत ज़रूरी है, because this is where all the updates are going to be there. So only people who registered would obviously have the invite in the mail. अब interesting चीज़ क्या है कि अभी भी you can go and take part in the event. I'll just drop the link. The registrations are still open. If you have not yet registered, please go and register right now. And if you have registered and you are not in the WhatsApp group, please mail us. ये मेल है designer.hq@gmail.com. इस पर आप मेल कर सकते हैं हमारे को and we'll revert. नहीं तो आप अपने मेल्स चेक करिएगा, उसमें हमारा व्हाट्सएप लिंक हमने आप सब लोगों को सेंड किया है. यस, सो ऑल अपडेट्स इन द व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप. एज मैंशनड, आई एम गोना बी वेरी स्लो हियर फॉर एवरीवन टू डाइजेस्ट. आई विल बी स्पीकिंग बोथ हिंदी एंड इंग्लिश फॉर यू ऑल, सो दैट यू ऑल अंडरस्टैंड कि कैसे करने वाले अपन, राइट? आई होप सब लोग कंफर्टेबल होंगे, बिकॉज वी हैव डन अ लॉट ऑफ वर्कशॉप्स लेटली एंड सबका कॉन्स्टेंट फीडबैक है, तो उसके हिसाब से वी हैव tailored this whole experience for you all, and I hope it goes well. So speaker sessions, talking to about speaker sessions, there will be both on YouTube and there will be both on Discord as well. So there are going to be people who are not going to, हम लोग हर बार YouTube की लाइव स्ट्रीम नहीं कर सकते, राइट? बहुत सारे लोगों को अपना सेशन एक्सक्लूसिव चाहिए था, एंड हमारे को भी वो एक्सक्लूसिविटी चाहिए थी सब लोगों के लिए. सो दिस इज़ वेयर Discord members will have this benefit, and obviously people who have taken part in this event, उन सब के लिए Discord में भी है. And because why Discord? With Discord पे you can directly have a chat. We will open gates for everyone. Discord gives us that connectivity with you all and the speaker, so the speaker can directly interact with you. So हमारे को interaction and feedback is the main thing that we are going to be working on, because design is something that cannot be learned within a month or within a year. It's something which is evolving, and you have to evolve with it too, correct? So moving forward, everything will be informed prior, so don't worry, relax and just keep your eyes on the WhatsApp group. That's all I can say. बहुत आराम से लेके जाएंगे ये इवेंट को, कोई हबड़ दबड़ नहीं होगी. Everyone will be informed. किसी को कोई भी डाउट होगा, we have a whole team of 15 folks in the WhatsApp group who are interacting with you and answering your doubts. So we will make sure that you all are up to date and on the time आप सब लोगों को रिस्पॉन्स मिल रहा है हमारा. yes, so all sessions are like basically crash courses over multiple important things as a designer. There are a lot of things to keep in mind. सिर्फ पूरा मंथ अपन टाइपोग्राफी करेंगे या फॉन्ट्स करेंगे, it won't make sense, right? हमारे को थोड़ा और एक्स्ट्रा चीज़ें भी चाहिए. we need to make sure that you all also learn a lot of things. So साइड बाय साइड वो जो लर्निंग है, वो लर्निंग इसी की वजह से पॉसिबल हो पाएगी जब आपको हम ऐसे सेशंस देंगे, these सेशंस के टॉपिक्स जो है आई डोंट वांट रिवील राइट नाउ, राइट, सब कुछ धीरे 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 बताया जाएगा. एंड वी ऑल्सो हैव अ गेस्ट वेटिंग फॉर यू ऑल. इनका सेशन 7:30 को स्टार्ट हो जाएगा, उससे पहले ही हो जाएगा, डोंट वरी. वी गोना बी लीविंग यू ऑल बाय 8:30 8:15. It's gonna be a good 1 hour, so sit back, get a cup of coffee or whatever you like to drink or like a snack, and बस सुनना है आपको, बहुत चिल होने वाला है. एंड या दैट्स इट. एंड कंपटीशन जो है इज सेपरेट देन द सेशंस, एंड जो सेशंस है वो सेपरेट है देन द कंपटीशन. दीज टू आर नॉट रिलेटेड. Being very clear, these two are not related. Obviously you can implement all the learnings that you're going to get through these, but competitions are alag hai, sessions alag hai, as simple as that. Sessions are there for you to level up, as I mentioned, using the industry experts. Coming to the competition, सब लोग वहीं हैं, सब लोगों को चाहिए पैसा, पैसे के बिना नहीं चलती ज़िंदगी, राइट. एंड दैट्स वेयर हमने जो ये प्राइस पूल भी रखा है ना गाइस, इसलिए रखा है बिकॉज हमने बहुत सारे लोगों को देखा है कि वो रजिस्टर करके छोड़ देते हैं हमारा प्राइस पूल, बिकॉज आई थिंक इट्स बिकॉज द प्राइस पूल वॉज वेरी स्मॉल, एंड दैट्स वाई पीपल डिडंट टेक इट सो सीरियसली, एंड दैट्स वेयर वी हैव चेंज्ड फ्यू स्टाफ, राइट. तो कमिंग अप, पहली अनाउंसमेंट जो है मेन, सेशन डिस्कॉर्ड पे ही होगा, गेस्ट सेशन एंड ऑल, डिस्कॉर्ड्स एंड यूट्यूब दोनों पे होगा. यूट्यूब्स क्या हो रहा है भाई, प्लूरल बना रहा हूँ, सॉरी. सो we have Raj in the chat. Raj is our team member who is going to help you with all your doubts on the WhatsApp group, on the Discord, on the YouTube also. हर जगह पे राज आपको दिखेंगे, हमारे मॉडरेटर हैं. Then there is Yuvam also. There is Dheer, there is Shalini, Krishiv. These guys are there to help you all. मेनली आइडिया ये है, डिस्कॉर्ड पे इंटरैक्टिव सेशंस होंगे, यूट्यूब पे लेस इंटरैक्टिव सेशंस, मोर स्ट्रॉन्गर सेशंस जिसको कह सकते हैं, राइट. सो कमिंग बैक टू आवर व्हाट्स ऑन द टेबल, थर्ड प्लेस को मिलेगा 3,000 रुपीज़ विद द SOS स्टिकर्स एंड सर्टिफिकेट, राइट, अंडरस्टूड. सेकेंड प्लेस को मिलेगा 7,000 रुपीज़ एंड रोडा नोट्स का एक प्रीमियम बॉक्स आएगा विच इज़ क्वाइट वर्थ अ लॉट, I think 1.7K, right. Then there is SOS stickers again. ये stickers जो हैं हमारे बहुत प्यारे stickers जिन्होंने बनाए हैं, ये आपको फ्री में डिलीवर करेंगे आपके घर पे, एंड दे आर गाइज वेरी प्रीमियम क्वालिटी. काफ़ी हार्ड है, अगर आपको आवाज़ आ रही है तो these are top quality stickers that you can stick anywhere you like and customize it. And then we have obviously certificates for the guys. First place को मिलेगा 15,000 rupees with the Rhoda Notes premium box with SOS stickers and certificates. So there's a almost double का jump है, double से ज़्यादा का jump है first place and second place में, and that's where हमारा competition बहुत strong होने वाला है. Okay, clear? सब लोगों को clear हो गया? अब थोड़ा digest करते हैं. Damn, थोड़ा फिर से बताता हूँ, ठीक है. Third place 3,000 rupees SOS stickers certificate. Second place 7K Rhoda Notes SOS and certificate. फर्स्ट प्लेस को मिलेगा 15,000 रुपीज़ रोडा नोट्स SOS एंड सर्टिफिकेट. क्लियर? डोंट वरी, ये सारी चीज़ें वापस से आपको बताई जाएगी ऑन व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप, राइट. कुछ मिस हो गया हो, पीछे जाओ, रिवाइंड करके वापस से देखो. ये सारा लाइव सेशन रिकॉर्डेड है, यूट्यूब पे हमेशा रहने वाला है. इट्स नॉट गोना बी टेकन डाउन और एनीथिंग. इट्स देयर फॉर यू ऑल टू लर्न अगेन एंड अगेन. दैट्स वेयर वी स्पेशलाइज इन. या moving forward, you all have the chance to take part in weekly quizzes to learn की spelling guys थोड़ा lean हो गया है, so sorry for that, जल्दी में, my bad. Network and win exclusive design stickers. So ये जो design stickers हैं, we wanted थोड़ा customize, right. So हमने खुद से ये customize करवाया तुम सब लोगों के लिए, and we wanna give it out to you all and support Worship Chawla, who is the founder of SOS and a really good friend of ours. She's trying to do something very cool that no other company has done in when it comes to stickers, and at a very affordable price point. So उनको support करने के लिए we have collaborated with them and they have provided these sticker packs to give out to you all for free. So why not take an advantage, right? Now main बातचीत guys, how do we win, right? जीते कैसे भाई? भाई ने बता दिया भाई पैसा मिलने वाला, लेकिन कैसे मिलने वाला वो तो पता ही नहीं, अब बताऊंगा. तो इवेंट फ्लो है. अब देखो, मैंने बहुत अच्छे से स्लाइड बनाई नहीं है, बट कोशिश किया है कि कम से कम मैं समझा दूँ, समझ रहे हो? वीक फर्स्ट पे वी विल बी, सब लोग जब सबमिट कर रहे होंगे, फर्स्ट टॉप 25 फोक्स को उठाया जाएगा, उनको बता दिया जाएगा कि यू आर ऑलरेडी इन द टॉप 25, करेक्ट? वीक 2 में सेकेंड 25 को उठाया जाएगा एंड वो वापस से करेंगे अटेम्प्ट, ठीक है? वीक 3 में अभी कितने हो गए? वीक 2 तक आते आते वी हैव 50 फोक्स, टॉप 50. दीज टॉप 50 विल बी गेटिंग शॉर्ट लिस्टेड टू टॉप 10 इन वीक 3 एंड इन वीक 4 वो टॉप 10 का कॉम्पिटिशन होगा एंड वो वीक 4 में हम इन टॉप 10 के साथ लाइव डिस्कॉर्ड पे डिज़ाइन सेशंस करेंगे, इन टॉप 10 के साथ पूरी मस्ती करेंगे एंड इन टॉप 50 के साथ भी पूरी मस्ती होगी. सो हमारे को यही फोकस करना है कि टॉप 50 पे कैसे अपन प्रॉपर इंटरेक्ट कर सकते हैं सब लोगों के साथ एंड ये 50 लोगों का एक माइक्रो कम्युनिटी बना सकते, सो दैट देयर इज अ प्रॉपर कम्युनिटी फॉर्मेशन, माइक्रो कम्युनिटी फॉर्मेशन बिटवीन यू ऑल, राइट? अब तुम बोलोगे यार मैं फॉर एग्जांपल वीक 1 में क्वालिफाई हो गया, राइट? बट उसके आगे क्या, राइट? Okay, yeah. One question: will others get certificate? Everyone will be given a certificate of participation, signed by the officials of designer and signed by few of the speakers who are there. Right? सब लोगों को मिलेगा. It's a very valuable certificate to have it in your resume or CV. तो सबको हमारा सर्टिफिकेट जाएगा, राइट? देन कमिंग टू दिस इवेंट फ्लो अगेन, ये जो टॉप 50 एक बार सिलेक्ट हो गए तो ये क्या मतलब वीक 1 वाले जो टॉप 25 फोक्स हैं उनको वीक 2 में नहीं करना? नहीं कर सकते. इट्स देयर ऑप्शन, दैट्स वाई दे आर इन द टॉप 25, राइट? दे हैव द अपर हैंड दैट दे क्वालिफाइड इन द फर्स्ट वीक डायरेक्टली एंड दे डोंट हैव टू वर्क इन वीक 2, राइट? सो स्टेजेस हैं, लेवल्स बनाया है, बहुत केयरफुली सोच के बनाया है ये, ताकि तुम लोगों को मज़ा आए. एक बार जब तुम ये करोगे तुम लोगों के अंदर कंपटीशन वाली स्पिरिट जगेगी कि भाई मैं फर्स्ट वीक में नहीं हुआ 25 में, लेकिन सेकेंड वीक में हो सकता हूँ. So this is where something you all can run your brain के juices and get stuff out, right? सबको समझा? प्रेस 1 अगर सबको समझ गया. आई होप सब लोगों को समझ गया, बिकॉज बहुत कोशिश करिए सब लोगों को ईजी में समझाने के लिए, ठीक है? तो 1 दबा दो जल्दी से. 1 मीन्स यस, हम लोगों ने सब लोगों के लिए काम ईजी कर दिया है. क्या सब लोगों को समझ गया होगा? आई होप. किसी को भी नहीं समझा गाइस, फील फ्री टू आस्क, फील फ्री टू आस्क अस in the chat. I'm literally looking at the chat right now. Mohit, Sachin, Aman, Shivam, Muskan, Abhishek, Prashmeet, Sujal, Vishnu, Samiksha. Yes, everyone understood. Perfect. That's amazing. Nitesh, Somadeep. भाई सोमादीप काफ़ी ज़्यादा इंटरेक्ट कर रहा है. देन देर इज़ 2-3 मोर गाइज. देर इज़ वरदान भी एक बंदा, उसके भाई GIFs. Vardhan, if you are there in the chat. Moving forward. With every week, you need to submit minimum 2 creatives and explain the design with it. Again, हर वीक, अब ये जो वीक का बता दिया मैंने प्राइस पूल भी बता दिया. अब कैसे करें, क्या करें जिससे हम एक्चुअली में आ जाए टॉप 25 में? तो एवरी वीक यू गेट मिनिमम 2. सब लोग को एटलीस्ट 2 तो बनाना ही है क्रिएटिव्स. इट कैन बी एनी क्रिएटिव. इट कैन बी अ Instagram post, it can be a poster, it can be a hoodie design, it can be a anything, it can be a wallpaper design. जो जिस चीज़ में तुम fonts यूज़ कर सकते हो उस चीज़ में. Understood? Obviously वो जो creatives होंगे उनके अंदर वो specific font pairing होनी चाहिए. Clear? What if we don't qualify? We won't be able to even see the rest of the event? No. Okay, very cool question. Notorious. Say for example you don't qualify for the weeks. वीक 2 तक तुम्हारे को पता चल गया तुम टॉप 50 में नहीं हो. यू स्टिल कैन टेक पार्ट इन द कमिंग 2 वीक्स एंड सबमिट एंड टेक फीडबैक. यू कैन स्टिल सबमिट वट एवर डिज़ाइन यू वॉन्ट टू मेक एंड वट एवर फीडबैक यू वॉन्ट गेट ऑन एंड शोकेस कर सकते हो. यूज इट इन द पोर्टफोलियो बिकॉज यू आर एनी वेज गोना गेट द सर्टिफिकेट, राइट? सो दैट्स हाउ इट इज. Yes, everyone, Kesawa, everyone will be given a certificate. Perfect. Now you have to submit the specific जो क्रिएटिव बनाओगे इन द फॉन्टोबर चैनल हमारे डिस्कॉर्ड के अंदर. सो जो भी जिनको भी डिज़ाइनर में सर्वर में रजिस्टर किया है, जिन उनको सबको एक रोल गया है. जैसे दीप भाई के पास यहाँ पे एक रोल है फॉन्टोबर अटेंडी, ये फॉन्टोबर R&D का रोल से तुम लोग यहाँ पे साइड में चैनल्स में स्क्रॉल करोगे तो तुम्हारे को नीचे एक ये फॉन्टोबर का सेक्शन दिखेगा जस्ट बिलो लाउंज. ओवर हियर यू हैव दिस चैनल कॉल्ड सबमिट डिजाइंस. आई एम राइटिंग हाई ओवर हियर राइट नाउ. सी सब लोग आ गए इधर, जितने भी जिन्होंने भी पार्टिसिपेट किया है ना, सब लोगों को दिख रहा है ये, राइट. यहाँ पे बस सबमिट करना है तुम्हारे को अपना डिज़ाइन. एंड जिनको भी बातचीत करनी है लोगों से उधर कर सकते हैं, जिनको भी फीडबैक चाहिए वो इधर कर सकते हैं. फीडबैक और चाहिए तो तुम अपने व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप को भी यूज़ कर सकते हो. बट ऑल सबमिशंस टू बी हैपनिंग ओवर हियर इन द डिस्कॉर्ड. सब लोगों को इधर डालना है. हम लोग काउंट करेंगे, टैली हम लोग बनाएंगे, तुम लोगों को उसकी टेंशन नहीं है. तुम लोगों को बस अपने दोनों डिज़ाइंस एक साथ डालना है, दैट्स फॉर श्योर. सब लोगों को अपने दोनों डिज़ाइन एक साथ डालना है. अगर 2 से ज़्यादा बना रहे हो तो भी एक साथ डालोगे. एक एक करके डालो, चाहे एक्सप्लेनेशन और अलग अलग दो की, लाइक एक स्पेसिफिक मैसेज में एक गया, दूसरे मैसेज में दूसरा गया, लेकिन एक साथ डालो इन वन टाइम फ्रेम. अंडरस्टूड? दैट्स इट. एक ये चीज़ है. फिर वी विल शॉर्ट लिस्ट द पीपल एंड द लिस्ट ऑफ द टॉप पीपल जो भी होगा, टॉप 25 टॉप 10 एंड टॉप 3 विल बी सेंट एवरी सैटरडे, राइट. एवरी सैटरडे मेरे पास नहीं आया आपका व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में, जस्ट हिट ऑन जो भी एडमिन है उनमें किसी को आप मैसेज कर दो, व्हाट्स योर डिस्कॉर्ड आईडी एंड विल गिव यू द रोल. यस पारस, द लाइव वीडियो विल बी अप. वी विल शॉर्टलिस्ट द पीपल, राइट. एंड वो लिस्ट हमारे को देनी होगी एवरी सैटरडे. सो सैटरडे इज लाइक द announcement day for every week, and every week ends because we are beginning this week on Saturday for Fontober. So next week Fontober का week 2 चालू हो जाएगा on Saturday. एंड आप सब लोगों के पास 1 वीक होगा क्रिएटिव्स बनाने का. एंड इस क्रिएटिव्स के बीच में 1 वीक में आपके पास सेशंस होंगे. देयर विल बी डिस्कशंस विद यू ऑल जो अपन करेंगे इन द डिस्कॉर्ड. वहाँ सब अनाउंस किया जाएगा कि कब हो रहा है डिस्कशन, कब आना चाहते हो एंड कैसे कैसे करना चाहते हो. एवरीथिंग तुम लोग खुद के डिस्कशंस प्लान आउट कर सकते हो. यहाँ पे दोस्त बनाओ यार, यहाँ पे आए हो तो तुम दोस्त बनाओ, नेटवर्क. सब लोग व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में एक जो कम्युनिटी है उसके अंदर एक और ग्रुप है जिसका नाम है नेटवर्क हियर. वहाँ पे सब लोग अपने अपने इंस्टा पेजेस डाल रहे हैं, अपने लिंक्डइन्स डाल रहे हैं. अपना डालो, कनेक्ट करो, बातचीत करो, हिट करो, लोगों को बात करो. दिस इज़ वाई we all are humans, right? We all are here to talk, right? We are all here to learn from each other, and that's the motto that I follow. I am learning from all the designers that are there in my Discord server. उनका डिज़ाइन स्टाइल देखता हूँ कि ओके इस बंदे ने ऐसे किया, पर्सपेक्टिव समझ में आता है. दैट्स हाउ आई मूव अहेड, राइट. परफेक्ट, दैट्स इट. क्या बात है, कितनी जल्दी, कितनी अच्छे से क्लियर कर दिया सब लोगों को. प्रेस 1 अगर सब लोगों को क्लियर है, प्रेस 2 अगर कोई डाउट्स है. या इन द शोकेस सेक्शन. ओके नहीं, वापस से दिखा दो. सोमादीप, शोकेस सेक्शन नहीं है कोई. यू हैव टू कम अप ओवर हियर. आपको एक डिस्कॉर्ड में रोल दिया होगा जिसके थ्रू आपको ये अनलॉक होगा फॉन्टोबर वाला सेक्शन. जो फॉन्टोबर वाला सेक्शन है उसके अंदर सबमिट डिज़ाइन है, उसके अंदर आपको डालना है. हाई आई हैव अ लिटिल, व्हेन इज द नेक्स्ट ऑफलाइन इवेंट? ऑफलाइन इवेंट विल बी अनाउंस्ड, डोंट वरी. ऑफलाइन भी अपन बहुत कुछ प्लान कर रहे हैं राज भाई. So Raj took part in design dialogue. It was great. It was great meeting him. I have a little doubt. We will have topics given every week. Topics नहीं, font pairing आपको given होगा. Topic आपके ऊपर है. Using that font pairing का mood आप कुछ भी use कर सकते हो, कुछ भी बना सकते हो. That's where your skill comes into play, and that's where your implementation comes into play. Is there any specific topics? No. As mentioned, when would we have to submit the designs? Throughout the week before Saturday. Understood? देखो दो लोग आके बैठ भी गए VC में, lol. देन वी हैव, आई डोंट नो वेयर टू सबमिट. ओके, फॉन्टोबर में वापस से बता रहा हूँ, डिस्कॉर्ड ज्वाइन करना है आपको. आप जस्ट, अगर आपके पास डिस्कॉर्ड नहीं है, आप डिस्कॉर्ड के अंदर नहीं हो, तो राज विल ड्रॉप अ लिंक और जस्ट यू कैन टाइप एक्सक्लेमेशन कम्युनिटी इन द चैट. आपको लिंक आएगा, आप आओगे सर्वर के अंदर. आप एक बार सर्वर में आ गए तो आपको राज को बताना है ऑन द व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप. एक राज करके बंदा है एज एन एडमिन, आपको उसको बताना है, या फिर एक व्हाट्सएप नंबर आपको दे देंगे. राज, इफ़ यू कैन सेंड द व्हाट्सएप मी लिंक एज वेल फॉर द फोक्स. उनको आप डिस्कॉर्ड आईडी दो सो दैट कैन गेट वेरीफाइड, यू ऑल कैन गेट वेरीफाइड एंड गेट द रोल. आई थिंक मोस्ट पीपल को रोल दे दिया है, एवरीवन हैज़ द रोल ऑलरेडी. एंड आपको फॉन्टोबर के सेक्शन के अंदर आना है. एंड यहाँ पे सारे अनाउंसमेंट्स हैं, यहाँ पे जनरल है. सबमिट डिज़ाइन में आपको सबमिट करना है. इज देयर एनी थीम दैट वी हैव टू गो विथ? थीम इज़ ऑल ऑन यू, एज आई सेड अगेन. सब लोग के ऊपर है कैसे बनाना है. अब वो तुम्हारी स्टडी है कि हाउ यू ऑल यूज़ दीज फॉन्ट पेयरिंग्स जो अपन देंगे तुम लोग को यूज़ करने के लिए. यस, वॉट एवर क्रिएटर्स विल मेड द फॉन्टोबर टाइप. यस, दैट्स द क्राइटेरिया. फॉन्टोबर का जो मेन हमारा फॉन्ट पेयरिंग है वो यूज़ करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. जिनको भी फॉन्टोबर नहीं मिला है रोल, व्हाट्सएप मी का लिंक अभी राज ड्रॉप करेगा, उस पर व्हाट्सएप कर दो अपना डिस्कॉर्ड आईडी, आपको मिल जाएगा. सबमिट सेक्शन नॉट विजिबल अंडर फॉन्टोबर. आर यू श्योर राज? इफ यू कैन फिक्स दैट, डोंट वरी, सब कुछ क्लियर हो जाएगा. इफ देर आर एनी एरर्स वी विल फिक्स इट फॉर श्योर. उसको कर रहेगा, गाइस, डोंट वरी, वी आर फिक्सिंग इट. I get selected in the first week, then there would be no need to submit more designs in other weeks. Okay, if you get selected in the first week, say for example you are in the top 50 in the first week already, you will have to work again on the third week. लेकिन it's an option to you can work on the week 2 as well, but आप already selected हो, so आपको अगर feedback चाहिए तो you can work for feedback. If you don't want, it's completely your choice. सबमिट सेक्शन, ओके, गॉट इट, समझ गया. वो बस एक सेटिंग चेंज करनी होगी, इट विल बी मेड विजिबल. परफेक्ट, एवरीवन अंडरस्टूड, लेट्स गो. नाउ सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज जो सब लोग मिस कर देते हैं. ओके, वन और क्वेश्चन आ रहे हैं. व्हाट विल बी द सबमिशन डेट्स? अगेन, एवरी सैटरडे इज द लास्ट डे टू सबमिट बिफोर द लाइव सेशन. एवरी सैटरडे मोस्टली देयर गोना बी अ लाइव सेशन, बट 19th को लाइव सेशन नहीं होगा. 19th को सिर्फ अनाउंसमेंट होगी. मोस्टली जो सेशंस है वो पहले से अनाउंस कर दिए जाएंगे आपको, बट एवरी सैटरडे इज द लास्ट डे फॉर यू ऑल टू सबमिट फॉर दैट वीक. अंडरस्टूड? हाउ मेनी डेज? सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू विल हैव, वी आर स्टार्टिंग टुडे, टुमारो मॉर्निंग में आपको फॉन्ट पेयरिंग अनाउंस कर दी जाएगी फॉर द फर्स्ट वीक, एंड यू हैव 5 days or 6 days टू वर्क ऑन योर 2 creatives. इट कैन बी एनी क्रिएटिव, इट कैन बी ऑफ एनी थीम. बस आपको एक्सप्लेन करना है अपना आइडिया. समझो, दिस इज वेयर you're gonna get the points. People who can't see the submit Fontober suggested channels. Oh yeah, suggested channels. ये फॉन्ट डिस्कॉर्ड की नई सेटिंग बहुत गंदी है. ओके, सो जिसको नहीं समझ में आ रहा, इधर आओ, ऊपर आना, एकदम यहाँ पे टॉप में सजेस्टेड चैनल्स आ रहा होगा, और क्लिक ऑन द ड्रॉप डाउन, एंड अगर तुम लोगों का आ रहा है शो ऑल चैनल्स पे, बस टिक दैट. और अनदर थिंग, गो टू चैनल्स एंड रोल्स, एकदम टॉप पे है यहाँ पे चैनल्स के सेक्शन में, डिज़ाइनर के सर्वर में. गो टू ब्राउज चैनल, एंड उसमें यहाँ पे फॉन्टोबर के अंदर आ जाएगा. यहाँ पे तुम्हारा चेक करना होगा बस. दैट्स हाउ यू कैन गेट इट. परफेक्ट, आई थिंक एवरीवन अंडरस्टूड. मूविंग फॉरवर्ड, टुडेज गेस्ट के बारे में बतानी है. उससे पहले प्लीज़ आई वॉन्ट यू ऑल टू शेयर योर वर्क्स एवरीवेयर एंड टैग अस. वी विल रीपोस्ट इट फॉर श्योर. हम लोग को एक बहुत प्यारा मन है कि सब लोग की स्टोरी बनाए, है ना, सब लोग की एक कोलाज बना के डालें, हर जगह शेयर करें, विच इज़ वॉट वी विल डू फॉर श्योर. तो जितना ज़्यादा शेयर करोगे, जितना ज़्यादा विजिबिलिटी दोगे अपने आप को, उतना ज़्यादा आइडेंटिफाई करोगे, उतने ज़्यादा लोग से मिल पाओगे. राइट, यूज़ दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी गाइस. गिव फीडबैक्स टू पीपल हु आर सबमिटिंग वर्क. से फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू आर समवन हु इज़ गुड इन द इंडस्ट्री, हो गया उसको 2-3 साल हो गया, एंड काफ़ी कुछ पता है डिज़ाइन के बारे में. बात करो, बिगनर से बात करो, उनको टिप्स दो, अपनी खुद की ऑडियंस बनाना चालू करो कम्युनिटी के अंदर. एंड दैट्स वेयर मोस्ट पीपल फेल. कोई भी कम्युनिटी के अंदर बात नहीं करता, सब लोग बस इंट्रोस देख के चले जाते हैं. बिगनर से बात करो, कॉन्वर्जेशन स्पार्क करो अपने आप ही सर्वर के अंदर. दैट्स हाउ यू विल लर्न, दैट्स हाउ यू विल मीट न्यू पीपल. सब लोग मेरे को बोलते रहते हैं, यार मैं ग्रो कैसे करूँ, यार मेरे को क्लाइंट्स नहीं मिल रहे, यार मेरे को कुछ नहीं हो रहा, ये नहीं हो रहा. गो आउट देयर एंड जस्ट टॉक टू द कम्युनिटी. देयर आर 12,800 पीपल इन द सर्वर. 5 लोग तो होंगे ना जो तुम्हारे चैट को कुछ बोलेंगे, या तुम किसी के बोलोगे तो वो रिप्लाई तो करेगा. समझ रहे हो? एनी फॉन्ट वी में यूज. ओके, यही तो रूल है सचिन भाई, कि एवरी फॉन्ट पेयरिंग, एवरी वीक देयर विल बी अ फॉन्ट पेयरिंग गिवन बाय अस. थीम तुम्हारी, डिज़ाइन तुम्हारा, क्रिएटिव तुम्हारा, बस फॉन्ट्स हमारे. परफेक्ट. कोई फॉर्मेट की ज़रूरत नहीं है. यू कैन जस्ट सबमिट एज अ JPG और PNG और अ PDF ऑन द ग्रुप. ग्रुप कह रहा हूँ, हमारा डिस्कॉर्ड. सॉरी, डिस्कॉर्ड पे आपको सबमिट डिज़ाइन में बस डालना है. येस, दिस इज़ वेयर यू हैव टू सबमिट. ये है ना, ये सब लोग चैट कर रहे हैं ऑलरेडी, यहाँ पे आपको सबमिट करना है. नो फॉर्मेट, इट जस्ट शुड बी विजिबल क्लियरली, एंड योर रीजनिंग शुड बी मेंशनड अटैच्ड टू दैट डिज़ाइन. टेक्स्ट में डाल सकते हो या एक और इमेज में टाइप करके डाल सकते हो, एनीथिंग. As I mentioned, all this will get you visibility and again you will be sent exclusive stickers. So जो सबसे ज़्यादा इंटरेक्ट करेगा, जो सबसे ज़्यादा बात करेगा व्हाट्सएप में, डिस्कॉर्ड में, यहाँ पे वीसीज में बैठ के बात कर रहा होगा, हम लोग पूरा मॉनिटर कर रहे हैं. हम लोग उनके नाम्स को सिलेक्ट कर रहे हैं. तो अपना मेक श्योर करो कि आप अपना रीनेम कर दो अपना नाम डिस्कॉर्ड में जाके. आई थिंक इतने स्मार्ट सब लोग हैं कि इतना फिगर आउट कर सकते हो तुम लोग खुद. सब लोग टेक सेवीज हैं, राइट? गो आउट देयर एंड जस्ट अच्छे से करना है सब कुछ. यस. एंड हम लोग स्टिकर्स भेजेंगे फॉर फ्री टू योर डोर स्टेप. हाउ ग्रेट इज दैट? नाउ फॉन्ट पेयरिंग की अनाउंसमेंट होगी कल. ठीक है, फॉन्ट पेयरिंग की अनाउंसमेंट होगी कल सुबह सुबह. आप लोगों के व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में फॉन्ट पेयरिंग पहुंच जाएगी. व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप सबसे पहले पहुंचेगा एंड फिर डिस्कॉर्ड पे पहुंचेगा. कैन वी एडिट द फॉन्ट? डू वट एवर यू वॉन्ट टू डू विद द फॉन्ट. उल्टा करो, सीधा करो, कर्न करो, मोटा यूज़ करो, पतला यूज़ करो, छोटा यूज़ करो, नहीं फर्क पड़ता. स्टिकर्स, यस, स्टिकर्स आर द मेन थिंग्स. भाई मेरा मैकबुक का पीछे का तो पूरा स्टिकर से भरा हुआ है. सो द सबमिशन विल हैव 2 क्रिएटिव्स प्लस द कॉन्सेप्ट. यस, 2 क्रिएटिव्स इज द मिनिमम रिक्वायरमेंट. उसके आगे तुम्हारे ऊपर है, तुम्हारे को 10 बनाने हैं, 15 बनाने हैं, ऑल ऑन यू, राइट? वी आर डन. And let's begin with our first session, ladies and gentlemen. Are you all excited? Press 1 if you all are really excited. Because ये तो सिर्फ अभी बेसिक्स थे. ये सबका एक शॉर्ट डाउन क्रिस्प वर्जन तुम्हारे को व्हाट्सएप के मैसेज पे आ जाएगा. तुमने अगर ये सेशन का यहाँ तक अभी ज्वाइन कर रहे हो, मिस भी किया है, नहीं फर्क पड़ता, व्हाट्सएप में मैसेज आ जाएगा पूरा. क्या बात है? वेयर इज आवर गेस्ट? गेस्ट को बुलाया जा रहा है गाइज. डोंट वरी, लेट मी जस्ट ज्वाइन इन. While the guest joins, अपन यहाँ पे सेटअप में कैमरा बंद कर देते हैं. आई नो एवरी सिंगल स्क्रीन पे हर एक चीज़ विजिबल है, बट आई एम सो सॉरी फॉर दैट. आई ओनली हैव वन स्क्रीन, सैडली. फुल स्क्रीन कर देता हूँ. What's the criteria of judging? Criteria of judging is how carefully you have designed your specific creative. एंड बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं, अभी बताना सब कुछ नहीं बताना चाहता. कल परसों तक एवरी सिंगल थिंग विल बी आइडेंटिफाइड कि कैसे क्राइटेरिया पे जज कर रहे हैं अपन, कैसे कर रहे हैं, क्या क्या कर रहे हैं. बट मेनली द आइडिया इज दैट योर प्लेसमेंट्स ऑफ द फॉन्ट एंड द यूज केस जो आपने यूज़ किया फॉन्ट का, उस पर आपको जज किया जाएगा. एंड कितना ज़्यादा अपीलिंग है आपका डिज़ाइन यूजिंग दैट स्पेसिफिक फॉन्ट पेयरिंग. समझ रहे हो? आई थिंक आई गेव यू अ रफ आइडिया. ऑलराइट, आवर गेस्ट इज हियर. Hello. Am I audible? Hi, Sanskriti.
Hi, I have it open on the other side. Your YouTube live.
Am I audible to you?
Yeah.
Perfect. Guys, say hello to Sanskriti. Sanskriti, who is gonna be talking on a very interesting topic today. मैं सब कुछ उन पर छोड़ दूंगा क्योंकि मैं पिछले आधे घंटे से चपड़ चपड़ कर रहा हूँ. ठीक है, आई वांना रेस्ट माई थ्रोट फॉर अ वाइल. ऑल ओवर टू यू Sanskriti, and you can share your screen.
Will do. Okay, I hope my screen's visible to everyone.
Yes.
Okay, great. So I want to first start off by saying thank you to everyone who's joined this on a Saturday evening. And it's Dasra as well, so happy Dasra. And thanks for being here on a Saturday. And I promise I'll make this worth your while. And let's start with a quick introduction for me as well. So, hi everyone, my name is Sanskriti. Some of you may or may not know me from other sessions I've done in collaboration with the designer before. But I'm a brand and visual designer, and I've been with Non-Zero Design for about 3 years now. And my kind of journey in design was, it's not kind of non-traditional. So I began as an animator first, and then kind of transitioned to design very organically while at Non-Zero. So as I said, I've been here for quite a while. And when it comes to my work in general, it's quite industry agnostic. So I've worked with kind of brands from all kind of different industries, from like biotech to beauty, teams of all sizes, founders as well. And then I'm kind of again a multidisciplinary generalist, so my work spans creative direction, brand identity, packaging, everything under one roof, kind of. So I kind of like to throw my hat in the ring. And coming to today's kind of topic, so this is kind of a subject that I feel is a little maybe under talked about, and this is just me sharing kind of whatever learnings I've had over the past couple of years as a designer. And the subject for this session will basically be the value of a good presentation or a deck. And as I said, I'm not an expert by any means. I just want to put a quick disclaimer out there. This is just me sharing whatever I've learned. Hopefully, some of these tips will help you as well. And as designers, again, we are always pitching our ideas, pitching our work to people. So, learning kind of how to refine your presentation in terms of both, let's say, soft and hard skills is really important, right? So there's as two components, which is one is the conversational kind of component where refining, let's say, your tone, your pacing when talking to people, navigating crucial conversations is kind of part of, let's say, the soft skills component. And that is something I'm probably still kind of a noob at. I'm not even gonna lie. It's something that comes with a lot of trial and error and experience. But then the more you kind of have these conversations and make these kind of calls, you do kind of get better at it over time. And then kind of the meat of what will be discussed in this session is the hard skills. So what you can do from your end to make sure that visually, let's say, your presentations or decks kind of hit that mark. And that's what we're going to be kind of focusing on. I have attached like a resource at the end to maybe help you with kind of your soft skills and just handling these kind of let's say presentations a bit better. So I'll be sure to share that and we can get started. So the first kind of thing that I remember kind of learning as the months went by with like at non-zero was that all design essentially is user experience design. We're all designing for some kind of user, no matter what discipline you're in. You could be designing a chair, a website, a brand identity, packaging, pretty much anything, but you're all designing for one core user. And it's no different for presentation or deck design. You're also designing for a very specific user. So keeping them in mind while you create said presentation is also very crucial. And now we can kind of get granular with it and focus on, let's say, two major aspects of creating, let's say, a good presentation or deck. So the first would be structuring your content. For this, typically, there is a framework that I'll share in the next slide, and that is
Um, I think the guys, am I audible? I think I am audible. Oh, I think yeah,
hi. I'm sorry. Did you lose me?
yeah, a little for a little while. Yeah, you're back.
Okay. Could you tell me where I left off?
I think you left off while you were explaining this, so you can explain this from start. This one specifically.
Okay, great. So popular acronym, as I said, and kind of if understanding these four kind of, let's say, parameters of whoever you're presenting to, your target audience, and other kind of aspects help you navigate a super high stakes conversation, especially if you're a nervous presenter like I tend to be. So this really helps with the prep part of it. So first would be understanding who your audience is, and this again just like zoning in on them, right? So it could be different for different use cases. Sometimes as a designer you're pitching to a client, you're showing them kind of different concepts for a brand identity or website or something. The other side of it is probably you applying to an agency, so you're sending them like a PDF portfolio. So zoning in on what kind of audience you have really helps with crafting kind of a good deck for that person, and then nailing down your objectives as well. So what you aim to kind of get out of this. So if you're pitching to, let's say, a founder and showing them different kind of creative concepts for their brand, the goal of that presentation would be to close in on a particular concept, and going in with that clarity is really helpful as well. So it helps you lead the conversation in a nice direction. So those two are kind of the foundation, and then we can move on to what you'll be presenting. So that typically means the content. If you're presenting, let's say, mood boards or just showing your work, as I said, through portfolio, so just kind of having that content in place is also a good idea. And then how, this is also really important, I would say. And this is because how the presentation will be given or slash distributed decides a lot about it as well. For example, I'm here kind of presenting live and explaining and I'm able to give context to all of the slides, even though they have quite a little amount of text. And I'm able to do that because I'm speaking alongside them. For example, if you have a presentation that you know will be shared with other people without you being there and able, without, let's say, you won't be there to give context to the audience that will be seeing the deck, then in that case the design of it has to be a little different. So to avoid kind of miscommunication and communication gaps, then certain things have to be taken care of, like you might have to add more text to explain certain things that you would otherwise be able to explain verbally. So that also matters as to how, let's say, you're giving the presentation and the constraints of the actual um, event itself. So that matters as well. So but prepping for these four things always helps for any kind of situation. And then coming back to like structuring your content, all of this should help you lay out your content about what you're essentially the subject of the presentation or whatever objectives you may have. And then coming to the actual, let's say, starting the process of creating it, the first thing probably would be to block things out. This is a method I personally like to follow, where you block it out first in larger chunks, right? So you have, let's say, you put, like, this is the process I follow. I put down blank slides and then I will label them that, okay, the first 3 slides maybe can be introductory, the 10 slides can be for the meat of the content, and then the last 2 can be just for closing and reviewing kind of the agenda, let's say. So blocking out in big chunks and then going into each slide and then adding kind of more specific labels to each one, and just going from like that 10,000 feet view to a closer kind of more specific approach helps you with that initial kind of structuring that content and flow. So this is still, we haven't still gotten into the, let's say, the actual, let's say, design, graphic design bit of it. We're still looking at the overall narrative structure of the presentation. So that is definitely the first step, and this applies to any kind of presentation that I've done so far, pitches, portfolios, anything. So this is like a crucial first step. And then coming to visual identity as well, you wouldn't think that a presentation has a visual identity, but they all do, which is why PowerPoint and Google Slides even provide templates, because like that familiarity of, let's say, structure and design helps you kind of absorb content better. Let's say you follow an alignment, right, for all of your slides, that text is on the left, visual is on the right. After a couple of slides, the viewer knows that the text is going to be on the left, so they know where to look immediately, and that helps them absorb information faster. So when you have a consistent, let's say, identity and you apply that to your presentations, that really helps. And when it comes to this, there's one thing to keep in mind, that typically this will be decided by who you're presenting on behalf of or presenting to. So, for example, if I'm presenting on behalf of a design agency, then it would be using kind of their identity elements and their colors and their typefaces that they typically use. If I'm presenting on behalf of myself, then I would use maybe elements from my own, let's say, personal brand or personal brand identity. And that's why you'll see a lot of, again, designers have their very own unique kind of identity that extends to all of their communication. So posts, email newsletters, and stuff. So this is another kind of application for your identity, which is presentations. But yeah, that having a cohesive visual system goes a very long way in making information easy to absorb. And so there are 4 specific points I'd like to talk about here that, again, I use quite regularly. And the first one is grid systems. So grid systems are great for organizing info in digestible chunks. And then, as I said, right, repeating layouts and compositions helps users kind of gain familiarity with what is being shown, makes absorption easier in the long run. And it makes things look a little more structured and refined in general. So there is one really nice example and resource that I'd like to share here. So I'll just share this real quick. So there's okay. Yeah. So there's a website called brandingstyleguides.com, and it is a great resource for basically it's a collection of loads of companies brand style like apologies, style guides that they've had previously and from their rebrands as well. And these are again designed by big firms as well, so this gives you a good idea of the kind of standards that they've set for themselves. And again, branding style guides are a very specific type of presentation slash document. They are supposed to be shared asynchronously, so someone is not going to be there always to explain like the certain parts of the brand style guide. So that's why they usually contain a certain amount of text to explain kind of the rules of the identity and stuff like that. They have their own constraints basically. But this is the identity document, I think, of Bolt, which came out this year. And as you can see, as I'm scrolling through it, they have adopted a visual system to it, right? They have a very clear grid system, which is again, they've laid out kind of the text on the left and then the visuals on the right. And even with the visuals on the right, they have certain margins that they've maintained, certain kind of divisions they make within their content that makes things very easy to digest. So as a designer, so typically designers would be the audience for this, right? So as a designer, I know after three slides that okay, if I want to read about a particular part of the identity, I'm going to look to the left naturally, and that just makes the process easier for everyone. So having grid systems in place helps you structure that information really well overall. So yeah, that's kind of a tip to keep in mind. And another kind of neat thing that they've done is they have like an index panel on the side. So this is really helpful for longer documents that are shared asynchronously. And this allows you to essentially know where you are within the document without having to scroll all the way back up, which is great. And that leads really well into my next point, which is about usability. So that's one second. Yeah, that's kind of like the next point. So making presentations kind of user friendly is also a great approach to have. And just this again is a connected to graphic design in a way where you're having text that's not let's say that's legible. You're not using kind of fonts that are super hard to work with or super hard to read. You have good contrast between, let's say, your the kind of image you have on screen versus the background. Just keeping basic design principles in mind is overall important. And then visual hierarchy as well, right? So let's say you want the audience to focus on a particular image. Let's say it's part of your portfolio, right? So let's say you want them to focus on a particular render or a particular, let's say, a collateral or something. Then having that image kind of as the center of attention, maybe it takes up the most amount of real estate on the screen. These kind of things help users to immediately decide where their focus goes. So the goal is here that the to not essentially confuse the viewer and to make them work for it in a way. It should the giving attention should become very seamless for them as well, and make things again just easier to absorb overall. So usability is a big thing when it comes to presentations as well. And then one other kind of tip is engagement. This connects to soft skills as well in a certain way. So knowing kind of when to break the ice, break the tension, knowing when to kind of like the pacing, the toning of the overall presentation. This comes with again time and experience, trial and error. But then the flip side of that is like through hard skills as well, right? So making presentations very visual. Let's say if you know that the presentation is going to be text heavy, then adding enough visual aids to keep things interesting, then maybe adding motion wherever it's relevant. If you have the time to prep for that, then that also really helps. And let's say again you're presenting data, then instead of just putting like a text table, make it creative with like data visualization. You don't want the person in front of you to get bored basically and lose interest, which happens pretty easily these days. So keeping your viewer engaged is kind of something to keep in mind as well. And then the last kind of tip I have is would be that less is more. This is something I used to do very early on, which is I used to pack a lot of kind of information into a lot of like slides, so it would become very dense. And then because of that, people it's hard for people to glean what they're supposed to kind of glean from a particular slide. So that means using negative space as your best friend. And honestly, no one wants to read through walls of text. The last thing you want to do is kind of have people walk out of your presentation with a headache, which has happened to me on multiple occasions where I've kind of left a call with a splitting headache. So we can do our kind of duty in making information consumption easier by simply just designing our presentations to be a little more user friendly. And as I said, there are these two resources I'd like to share. So the first one is for improving kind of like, let's say, your ability to like navigate certain conversations. This book was really helpful for me as well. So it's called Crucial Conversations. I would definitely recommend like this from like a soft skills perspective. And then the second one is grid systems. I myself am halfway through this right now, but it is great for getting your fundamentals right. And I know for a fact that a lot of you all will be designing posters for Fontober and other kind of collateral. So again, this is great for any kind of visual that you will be creating. It helps give you structure and order and just make things look a little bit more harmonious. So definitely recommend this as like a read as well to get your fundamentals of your grids right. But yeah, that's kind of it from me. Again, thanks for everyone for coming in on a Saturday. I hope I didn't take up too much of your time. Thanks.
I'm on mute. Shit. All right, guys. Am I audible now?
Yeah, to me you are.
Okay. To the guys, there's a question for you in the chat, Sanskriti. Deep is asking, can you explain or show some of your work in the end? Who you do your design process for?
Sure. So what I will do is I will share my Behance. That is that is where most of my work is up right now, and I'll take you through one of my projects and just quickly walk you through the process I typically follow. So give me a second. Okay, yeah, just sharing my screen. Yeah. So I'm not sure what you meant to ask, maybe in terms of process. Uh, I'm going to walk you through maybe a couple of brand identity projects and just give you like an overall view of the process I typically follow. So let's say for a project like this, right, where you have to design an identity for a particular, let's say, brand, firm, product, etc. The first kind of step I would do is speaking kind of with the founder and understanding kind of their vision for the whole brand as well, what they want to kind of achieve with it, and doing a bunch of discovery with them. And then, of course, on the flip side, that would be understanding the kind of audience that they're appealing to. So in this case, it was a B2B business, it's a service business. So they wanted a slightly more formal, kind of modern approach to their whole identity. And that's kind of what we went with. So after you conduct, let's say, a bunch of discovery, then you kind of move into concepting, where you create different visual concepts that align with the conclusion of that discovery. So from the discovery, we've learned already what kind of our guiding factors are, and then that helps you with creating concepts, and then from there you kind of refine, and then that's how you end up with like a final kind of identity system. There's every, I think, designer has their own process, but it usually follows a similar kind of style, like a lot of understanding and research, and then after that you kind of build mood boards or concepts, and then from there kind of you refine till you get to the kind of sweet spot where the identity best serves the client, the audience, and you as a designer as well. So that's kind of the process I typically follow. You can kind of walk through some of my work. All of it's been at least for now, it's been quite identity and brand heavy. But yeah, that's typically the process that we follow.
Also, guys, all the slides will be shared in the WhatsApp group. Don't worry for that. The stage is open for all the questions. So whatever you have, do drop it, or whatever questions you have, do drop in the chat section. I think Sanskritik, you have this access to the chat, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, perfect.
Please drop your Behance link in the chat. Could
We will do
you
that. We will do that. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
okay. Behind the scenes of a project, what was the brief and how did you solve it by doing branding? um okay, so Okay, great. I can talk about a recent project I did for at Non-Zero. So we were approached by a startup called Malba Project, and they're based in Delhi, and they're a waste management startup. So they're doing kind of making waves using tech in the waste management sector, and they're essentially trying to propagate a circular economy within India, right? And they came to us kind of looking for kind of a storytelling piece. In this case, it was a website and a rebrand for their kind of whole identity, because they were shutting shop and wanted to kind of, let's say, go out with a bang in a way. So the process that we kind of followed was similar, right? So what we did was we sat down with the founder. We kind of understood a lot about the business first. I think as designers, that's kind of something we overlook, but understanding the subject matter is really important. Obviously, I didn't go into the project knowing a lot about waste management, but alongside you do a bunch of research and then you understand more and more. So as I said, discovery comes first, where you spend a lot of time just researching about the brand, about, in this case it was a startup, so researching about the startup, the industry, etc. And then after that we moved into mood boarding, as I said, right? And again, this is different for like a rebrand versus let a refresh and a starting from scratch branding projects. These are all three different categories. But as I mentioned earlier, right, there's not maybe much BTS I can share from this, but the process was typically the same. So we started out with a mood board, we pulled references, and then we built an identity system based on that mood board that was very close to it. So that's kind of how we arrived at the like identity system for that. So that you can kind of check that out on my Behance as well.
Guys,
How much?
Sanskriti, one request. If you can also showcase
Mhm.
that Malba project work, it will be great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sharing my screen. Yeah, so this project was pretty heavy when it came to, let's say, motion, type, and illustration. So that was kind of like the tone we wanted to go. Just make it a little bit different, disruptive, and mirror kind of the values of the team that was behind this as well. So yeah, that was kind of yeah, one of the most let's say extensive projects I've worked on from my identity perspective. How much time do you spend on the sketching phase for any project that comes in? So by sketching phase, the only time I personally do sketching is during the beginning, kind of when we have to figure out logo marks and stuff. So that's, I think for me, that's the only time I typically do sketching. I'm not like an illustrator, so that's the only time I sketch. And that normally, again, right, when you start a project you draw out a roadmap that okay, you have allotted, let's say, 4 weeks to this, 6 weeks to this, then let's say you've allotted 2 weeks to figuring out the identity, then within that you kind of allot 2 days to maybe figuring out the logo mark, so then you spend those 2 days kind of sketching and ideating. So a lot, the timing of how much I dedicate to it really depends on how much time the project has overall. So it's a direct kind of, it's directly correlated to that pretty much. um, how do you come up with the color palette for branding? How do you make it feasible for both RGB and CMYK? Okay, so the color palette, no, not sure if I have an answer for this. The color palette just okay. If I'll in general, what I do is I will hop on Pinterest, hop on again Behance, and just go through both sites and then dump all of my inspiration in one place. And I don't start with structure. The first goal is to just pull whatever I like to look at, and then from there I tend to cluster images, right? So this looks nice, and this would go with that, and then that's how you create different clusters, and then you build those clusters into different mood boards. So then typically what happens is, let's say you pull out a particular poster with some orange in it, then you'll pull out another image with some orange in it naturally because you're trying to group them. So then that is for me naturally how let's say a color system is made. And as for making it feasible for RGB and CMYK, so that depends on where the brand's going to like be present, right? So if it's a mostly online brand, then in that case you don't really have to worry as much about CMYK there. And a lot of the times colors don't translate well, so you can afford to use, let's say, colors that won't translate well to CMYK because the print usage is almost non-existent. But in certain cases also, you know that if there's going to be print usage, then I would say in my case at least, I always make sure to double check whatever colors I'm using to make sure that the translation isn't too far off. So that, let's say, if I'm using a particular shade of blue in RGB, that it should look as vibrant in CMYK. Otherwise, if there's too much of a difference, then the brand kind of language won't carry across super well. So you have to adjust for that beforehand only, I would say, and ask the constraints and kind of know the constraints of the identity before. Can you explain your personal logo to us, like your thoughts behind it? I'm going to be honest, there was not much thought there. I was just drawing out a bunch of type forms and then I liked how it looked. And it's not even, I wouldn't even call it a personal logo. I don't have a personal logo. It's just kind of like a placeholder I use for now. But yeah, I was just sketching out type forms and then I happened to like that. So that's how that came to be, pretty much that kind of S that I use in certain places. How to balance RGB and CMYK? I'm not sure how to balance it. There are certain tools like Adobe, for example, setting up documents in CMYK and RGB. You can immediately tell the difference between the two colors. That's a system I use. There are online converters as well and tools that you can check whether okay, this looks like this in RGB, this looks like this in CMYK. So it's a mix of both of those things that I typically use. What are the platforms we should look? Okay, what are your sources of inspiration for colors and style apart from Pinterest or Behance? What are the platforms we should look for before starting a project for inspiration? Um, there are plenty of platforms. So again, Pinterest and Behance for me are my most used. But then there's, let's say for websites, right? There's Godly. I love Godly personally for a lot of website inspiration. There are a bunch of others that I use as well. I can't think of them right now, but I have them bookmarked, so I'll be sure to share them across. But I think there's Pinterest and Behance are big ones, and then I think there's Cosmos is a new one that's come out. Save It is also another one, and there are a couple more as well. But honestly, I typically end up finding what I need within Pinterest and Behance, so I don't end up using Cosmos and the other kind of platforms as much. But they do have a great kind of visuals and aesthetics out there, so I would definitely say check them out. Have you worked with archetypes and do you also do brand strategy as well? I have done a little bit of work with brand archetypes and I have done strategy as well. I wouldn't consider it a specialization by any means of mine, but it is something that I'm familiar with, because when you're, let's say, designing the brand identity for a particular, again, product or service, we've had occasions where they've gotten their strategy done externally and then they've come to us saying that we need to kind of, let's say, build a identity that's in line with their strategy, and you have to be familiar with brand strategy terms, brand archetypes and things like that to build kind of like a solid identity on top of that. So even if, let's say, you don't end up becoming a brand strategist, it's important to at least have an understanding of the different components of strategy, because you will be working with strategists on a brand for sure. What are the steps to create a mood board? It's, again, this is the process I follow. I think every designer has their own, but before you start building a mood board, you have some information in your head, right? That okay, so the startup is trying to be disruptive, bold. You have like a few adjectives, let's say, in your head, and then when you scan your references, like let's say in this case Pinterest, you are able to, let's say, pull images and, let's say, videos from Pinterest that kind of fit the adjectives that are in your head. And as I said, I just dump everything in one place, and then from there I will cluster and create groups of visuals that look similar. And then once you have, then that kind of creates a, I can't think of a better word than vibe at the moment, but let's say you have like, I've created a collection of, let's say, 50 images. From that I'll be able to get a group of 5 that I think, okay, these look similar. And then those 5 become their own mood board. In a way, they become their own identity system, because they may have similar colors, they may have similar type, they may have other similar elements that make them kind of come together nicely. So just kind of collecting and then clustering is the method I tend to follow. How do you decide to choose the typeface based on the emotions it would trigger? Like, how can we know that a particular typeface or design can trigger certain emotions? So there's a lot of like reading you can do about this as well. So there are already certain associations done with typefaces, such as, let's say, serif typefaces have like a very classic and kind of uh, elegant kind of feel to them, and then sans serif typefaces are a little more modern and clean. So basis that, you can kind of decide what typefaces would be appropriate. And again, with typefaces, there's a lot of let's say, other constraints you have to think about. Legibility is one, readability, and then overall just characters as well. There's been a lot of times where I've come across a great typeface, but it simply does not have anything past, let's say, like A to Z in lowercase, and then that becomes unusable for the brand as well, because you need let's say capital letters and special characters and stuff. So that kind of has to be kept in mind as well. But it's a overall just kind of looking at the look and feel of the brand should help. And again, no kind of identity is only typeface. It's always color, typeface, elements, images. So it the typeface has to fit in the context of all of those things, not just by itself. So don't look at it in a vacuum, is what I would say. Which software do you use for design? Most of the Adobe tools like Photoshop, Illustrator, After Effects for motion as well. Would you please suggest more resources for learning brand identity? Okay, so YouTube is great. YouTube is amazing. I haven't really read, in fact, a lot of books about brand identity. It's something that I've learned mostly from YouTube, and then even more so from doing. So honest, and again, ChatGPT is great for this. So you want to learn anything, I resort to ChatGPT for almost everything. So if you want to learn brand identity, ask ChatGPT to essentially teach you it, and then go ahead, build out let's say a take a concept brief. There are many pages on Instagram and tools online that will write you like fake concept briefs, and then they will kind of give you a chance to build identities around those briefs, and then you can always get it critiqued by the designers. So that's a good way to learn. I would say learn by doing more than just watching and reading. Just get your hands dirty immediately and then get better like that. Do you do brand strategy for your clients? I have done it on a couple of occasions, and that's because usually, again, one thing that I one kind of mistake I did very early on in, I think, when I started out, was that I didn't insist on any kind of strategy beforehand, which is not a great idea, because with design, right, all your decisions should be somewhat justifiable. If there's a reason you've gone with these colors, there's a reason you've gone with this typeface, all of that has to be based in some strategy, and that's how you'll be able to root for your decisions and how you'll be able to sell your decisions and work as well. So if let's say a founder is coming to you saying that, oh, we need a brand identity, it's imperative to first understand the brand as a personality, the audience, like let's say your target user, what kind of perceptions they have about your industry and your brand. So having that in place helps you make strategic decisions. And there's a great book on this I'm reading at the moment, which is Creative Strategy and the Business of Design. So they in that book, it's really emphasized on having like a good strategic foundation before you kind of start, let's say, anything visual. So that's a great resource as well. But yeah, always I would say have some kind of a foundation for your work. Like your I wouldn't say it's a good kind of approach to be like, oh, I did this because it looks nice. Like it has to have some kind of reasoning to it, or be based in some strategy basically. How much time does a visual identity project take in non-zero and the industry in general? So again, that's I can't really put a time to it. I have worked on identity projects that have spanned 6 months, and then I've done like a sprint in 2 weeks also. There's really no standard time for how long these things can take. It really depends. But in general, having like I would say in general, having more time is better than having less, because having a rushed product helps no one, and you need time again to conduct all the strategy and do a proper deep dive into the industry that your, let's say, client is going into. If you have a client in the beauty industry, then understanding the landscape of that industry is really important. There's not a lot of research that can be done, let's say, within 2 weeks. So having a little, like, having more time than that always helps. But then if you have too much time as well, you run into the problem of just getting stuck in a loop of endless revisions. So in your own, let's say, work, you have to be able to find that sweet spot that, okay, I think this works best for me. But most of the time clients will come to you with their own restrictions, that, oh, we have to get this done in 2 weeks, or we have to get this done in 3 months. So then we end up having to operate around their timelines as well. How do you reflect archetype and strategy on visual identity? So again, I haven't worked with archetypes as much. I'm aware of like what archetypes are, but I haven't worked with them all that much. And when it comes to strategy, I would say that again, right, like there are certain things that guide the process overall. So let's say you have part of the strategy is figuring out the brand personality, right? And the way I conduct strategy is usually having adjectives to describe it. So let's say the personality is bold, it's disruptive, it's urban, it's fresh. You again, you can have your own set of adjectives for every client that you work with, but then those adjectives are what kind of guide the visuals, right? And then when you're landscaping as well, so you understand, let's say these other brands in the space, they lean more towards this vibe, we want to lean more towards this vibe. So the one goal with branding is differentiation. So finding that sweet spot where your brand is able to stand out from others, that's where kind of the identity comes in. So you have your brand personality in place, you know where you stand in the market, and then that helps you craft a good identity that will help you, let's say, stand apart from your competitors in a way. Can you also share a basic branding questionnaire? Can you give important points to ask the client before starting a branding project? Again, I don't really have a set, let's say, list of questions. Usually for me, discovery calls end up going for very long, and as they should, because let's say your client is coming to you with a decent amount of expertise in their own industry, right? So let's say you're talking to a founder in the beauty space, they have a lot of expertise when it comes to product and what they're trying to sell and maybe their target consumer. So there are a few hallmarks and things that should be understood before you move into identity by any means. One is the target audience. I'd say that is the most important thing, so understanding your user really well. Then the current landscape as well, what kind of brands you're competing with for the user's attention, that's really important. Understanding, let's say, the constraints of a brand as well. This is a kind of realization I've had recently, where let's say you design a very complex visual system for a client. There's no point doing that if they can't maintain it going ahead. So it's always worth asking your client or having that discussion, that how is this identity system going to be maintained? Are you going to hire in-house designers that are capable of carrying this forward? And that essentially helps you gauge how complex you can make your identity system for them as well. So I'd say go into it with questions as well. ChatGPT again can help with that, but definitely I think one thing that we forget to ask, at least I used to, is constraints. So always ask that: does build identity have print applications? Who's going to work with the identity from here on out? Are they going to always work with external freelancers and agencies, or will they have their own design team at some point? So it's always important to have that conversation beforehand. Did you also create the illustration assets? How do we make original assets without drawing skills? No. So for Malva project in particular, actually, Non-Zero has a great team of illustrators, and they're the ones who created these basically. And yeah, they're specialists that are very good at what they do, and yeah, they're the ones who created this. So I'd honestly not be able to give you much guidance here. That's kind of their main skill. So they're the ones who usually take care of this kind of work. Any tips for Fontober? Probably, I'm assuming again in the context of poster design and stuff like that. So when it comes to poster design, one, I personally used to do these challenges where every week I would kind of commit myself to designing one poster, and this teaches you a lot about visual composition overall. So the first thing I would say for Fontober is reference a lot. Pinterest, as I said, is your best friend, or any other tool that you might want to use, but reference a lot. This will give you a lot of nice kind of like a nice kind of group of references to pick from. And then the second thing would probably be, again, just grid systems, right? And it's all trial and error. Normally, like a lot of the times, you'll go through the experience where you'll picture a poster in your head to be a certain way, and then while you're working on it, you'll be like, okay, this doesn't work, let me try this. Make it super iterative. Don't stick to something just because you thought that you want to make it like this. Spend a good hour, experiment with different tools, techniques, and the goal is to learn as well. So there's a lot of random YouTube tutorials for like Photoshop gradients and this and that I've come across, and they're super fun to just try and experiment with. So I'd say use Fontober as a great learning experience as well for those who are stepping into kind of poster design for the first time. It's quite fun. Any tips for a new designer who is going to land into brand identity work? I would say definitely read that book that I mentioned earlier, which is Creative Strategy and the Business of Design. Uh, Make sure that whatever kind of design decisions you're taking are based in some kind of strategy. A lot of the times we end up just pushing for certain things because they look nice, and then when we are counter questioned on that choice, we don't have anything to show for it. So it's always important to base it in some strategy. So that's one thing. And then the second thing would be, I would honestly tell probably everyone, it's something I've started doing as well, which is spend at least maybe 15 to 20 minutes a day just browsing through other people's work. This will help you a lot when it comes to creating your own, and it helps you kind of get those creative juices going as well. Like, reference a lot. This, and you never know where inspiration will strike you. So referencing and then having a good kind of strategic base is probably the two things I would recommend that I don't think I did in the beginning. So don't make that mistake. Have you created websites which you are not too proud of, since the client just gave you one reference and said, I want a website just like this one, and just add our colors and identity elements? No, I think I'm grateful that I haven't come across anyone like that yet. But yeah, in this case, I want a website just like, yeah, that's quite a difficult situation. I've luckily not come across too many people like that, and I'm at the point where, luckily, I touch wood, I don't run into people like that anymore. But yeah, again, people have different requirements, I guess. But normally, the kind of having to educate your clients on design isn't the best starting point in the first place. It usually leads to a very, let's say, unsavory or unpleasant experience working with them down the line as well. So yeah. How much does work experience matter in design? Skills are more important, or work experience? Well, you can't have work experience really without skills. Like, they have to be developed in tandem with each other. I would say both matter. Yeah, both matter equally, because the thing is, right, when it comes to work experience, if until you kind of deal with clients firsthand and you have to pitch firsthand, you have to create firsthand, it's not the same as just reading about it or watching videos. Like, having that real life experience really counts. And I've spoken to quite a few designers who have gone to design school, and they've come out and they've said that, oh, we weren't taught any of this in school, we weren't taught any of this in college. So that real life experience definitely counts for something. And you don't necessarily have to work in an agency or a firm to do that. As I said, freelancing is always an option. So having practical experience teaches you the most, honestly, about especially these soft skills. Skills, I feel like when it comes to let's say hard design skills, that can be picked up. That's not a problem. But when it comes to navigating difficult situations and stuff, that only comes with experience. When you experience like a difficult founder that's requesting changes, and how to kind of lead that conversation properly, that happens very on the fly, and that's like a very experience driven thing. So yeah.
All right. Now, with the time constraint in the mind, Sanskrit, just choose one question. We have Somadeep and Deep.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much do you charge with the monetary loop with your client? Like, what's your eye on it? Okay, so there's a couple of different charging frameworks you can follow. There's some people recommend hourly, some people recommend, let's say, project basis. That's kind of upon you how you prefer to charge. But yeah, there's the typical kind of thing I like to follow is, let's say you have a certain amount of expenses every month, and then you have that kind of number in mind, and then you kind of pick projects and time them according to those expenses. So that's one kind of framework I follow. Hourly, again, hourly versus project have their own pros and cons. So I'd suggest, again, just reading up and kind of finding what works best for you. But yeah, that's again super trial and error. So figure it out as you go along, I guess. But yeah, that monthly
Perfect.
expense thing is kind of like a good baseline to follow.
Okay, that's great. एक और अच्छा क्वेश्चन आ गया सचिन का.
Hmm. Would you please drop an idea about font pairing, like how we can showcase our works in a short? Okay. So okay. So how you can showcase certain font pairings is, I'm assuming, what you mean. I think posters probably would be the best way to do it, and I think that allows you for a lot more experimentation when it comes to other things as well, right? Because posters have visual elements. They have, I mean, obviously type elements, color, visual balance, all of that stuff. So one kind of challenge I had taken on, like earlier when I was kind of, let's say, last year, trying to kind of get better at graphic design in general, was that I took kind of, let's say, movies that I liked or books that I like. Redesigning book covers is a great way to kind of up, let's say, your graphic design skills. So you can take a book cover, redesign the title, and this helps you with overall, let's say, adjustment, composition, layouts, all of that stuff. So, and I think I've seen a couple of great Instagram like creators as well, like designers, where they take book covers and then create super like nice designs with them. So that's probably an approach I would take if I was doing this channel. I would redesign book covers for sure.
That's actually a brilliant answer. Guys, इतना cool था, देखो थग लाइफ आ गई. इतना इतना cool session देखो guys, मज़ा आ गया. Alright. Thank you so much, Sanskriti, for actually doing that and taking out time for the community. I hope संस्कृति हैव आंसर्ड सबके क्वेश्चंस. किसी को एक्स्ट्रा क्वेश्चंस भी होंगे तो डू लेट अस नो. We'll add Sanskriti in the WhatsApp group and she can answer whenever she gets time. I know there are questions, a lot of questions, and these conversations can go a lot of times, but there are a lot of people who might also answer your questions, right? There are good people who are already a part of this workshop. So just go out on the server. People are always sitting in the VCs. जो भी बैठे उनसे बातचीत करो, and that's it. And Sanskriti, you can leave over here. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll just sum up the whole event once more. Yeah,
All right.
perfect.
Thanks everyone. Bye bye. Have a nice
रुको रुको
weekend.
रुको. Wait. Let's take a photo. Let's take a photo and we put it on the stories, guys. We encourage every single one to post stories and tag us, and we will repost for sure. ठीक है. This is where we can get feedback also. Stories पे डालो कैसा लगा session. Just put in your thoughts. Right? आ जाओ. 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much, Sanskriti, for doing this, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks guys. Bye bye.
Guys, एकदम महंगी बातचीत हो गई है हमारे. काफ़ी अच्छा सेशन लिया है ऑन द वेरी द मोस्ट द इम्पोर्टेंस. ओके, सॉरी, नहीं होता भाई, नहीं होता वैसे स्ट्रीमिंग. वाई दिस सेशन वॉज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट वॉज वेरी सिंपल, बिकॉज प्रेजेंटेशन सबको बनानी है. मैंने तुम लोगों को अभी चालू करने से पहले प्रेजेंटेशन बना के दी, राइट? दिखाई, तुम लोगों को समझाया, और बेटर बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं करने के लिए. मेरे को मैंने खुद सीखा आजकल वो जो विजुअल डिज़ाइन के बारे में उन्होंने बताया, बिकॉज संस्कृति हैज़ अ वेरी गुड हैंड इन विजुअल, तो काफ़ी कुछ सीखने को मिल सकता है उनसे, राइट? तो उनका मैंने वो ड्रॉप किया था ऊपर. राज, इफ़ यू कैन जस्ट रीपोस्ट अगेन रीपेस्ट द लिंक ऑन द चैट, दैट विल बी ग्रेट. I have some questions. Hey Vansh, can you please see my message on Discord? All right. I'll answer that for sure, Sujal. Yeah, these goggles are insane, right? मज़ा आता है. किसी को कोई भी डाउट हो, अगर डू टैग अस ऑन द व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप और ऑन डिस्कॉर्ड. वी विल आंसर योर क्वेश्चंस एज सून एज पॉसिबल. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in on a Dashera, on a holiday, on a Saturday, on a long weekend. Respect for you all. And देखो, एक चीज़ याद रखना कि डिज़ाइन में इम्प्लीमेंट करके ही सीख पाओगे. करोगे नहीं तो पता कैसे चलेगा, राइट? जस्ट ऑल द बेस्ट फॉर यू ऑल. एंड आई थिंक एक एक शॉट देना चालू कर दो. स्टार्ट वार्मिंग अप योर जूसेस, बिकॉज जो फर्स्ट हमारा पेयरिंग है, इट्स गोना बी अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग वन एंड अ वेरी ईजी वन टू प्ले विद. सो बहुत इंसेन आइडियाज़ आ सकते हैं. तो लेट्स सी हाउ विजुअली यू क्रिएट ऑल ऑफ योर डिज़ाइंस, जैसा संस्कृति ने बोला. बहुत सारे हिंट्स ड्रॉप करके गई है संस्कृति तुम्हारे लिए. इफ़ यू आर एबल टू कनेक्ट, आई विल से जस्ट रीवॉच द होल एपिसोड अगेन. डे 1 का ये वापस से देखना. फास्ट फॉरवर्ड कर सकते हो. 2x वाली अपॉर्चुनिटी है यूट्यूब पे, हमारा ऑप्शन है ना. टेक्नोलॉजी, लेट्स गो. So that's it. Can you please explain the idea behind designers logo? Okay, very interesting. So this logo is basically a delta, right? ये एक डेल्टा है, एंड थोड़ा चेंज किया था डेल्टा को मैंने. ये डेल्टा का D इज़ फॉर डिज़ाइनर, D स्टैंड्स फॉर डेल्टा, D स्टैंड्स फॉर डिज़ाइनर. एंड जो D है, ये जो डेल्टा है, सॉरी, डेल्टा मीन्स चेंज. एंड वॉट आर वी ट्राइंग टू डू? वी आर ट्राइंग टू ब्रिंग इन चेंज इन द कम्युनिटी. वी आर ट्राइंग टू ब्रिंग इन चेंज इन द होल सिस्टम बाय दिस होल कम्युनिटी. तो ये लॉजिक था इसके पीछे. एंड डिज़ाइनर भी जो है, डिज़ाइनर का मतलब होता है डिज़ाइनिंग. इट्स अ लैटिन वर्ड फॉर डिज़ाइनिंग. एंड काफ़ी रिसर्च करके बनाया था, तो बहुत मज़ा आया था ये करने में. तो गुड क्वेश्चन, हरिका. थैंक यू सो मच गाइज फॉर एक्चुअली ज्वाइनिंग एंड आई सी यू इन द नेक्स्ट वन. एंड जो भी अनाउंसमेंट्स जो भी इवेंट्स होंगे सब पहले से ही बता दिया जाएंगे तुम लोगों को 24 hours प्रायर. So stay tuned and keep designing, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Bye bye.